It's time for Gardening Inside Out, a live show offering you plant advice for any space in your life. Introducing your perennial hosts, David Bates and Josh Carey.
Hey, welcome in, everybody. It's Saturday morning, the day before Mother's Day.
It is indeed.
But it doesn't stop us from doing Gardening Inside Out live here from the Green Room Studios at Bates Nursery and Garden Center.
That is absolutely
Welcome
right.
in, everybody. Welcome in.
We will do our best to create a Mother's Day edition. So if you're a mom and you've submitted a question, you go right to the phone. We've got audio coming from some source somewhere, Josh.
It was me again. I'm standing here with my fingers on the button. I'm sitting
That's
here.
part of the problem.
Yes,
And we'll go to some other subject, and we'll call that weather. How about that? Today is Saturday, the 11th of May. Going to be a really beautiful day. 77 degrees for the high temperature. Really just fantastic conditions. You couldn't ask for better. We had some substantial heat last week, and that's all been replaced. We got, survived the deluge, floods and we are hopeful that all came through that in acceptable fashion. I know it was really tough for a lot of folks. We just missed major rainfall. We'll get into that in a moment. 77.51 today on Sunday. 81.59. Great conditions particularly if you're north of town, to take some photographs of the aurora borealis, which we don't get to see this far south very much. Caroline got some photographs because she lives north of town. On Monday, there will be some showers. Maybe a third of an inch of rain, 71.64. Maybe 2/3 on Tuesday, 75.62. And a little bit remaining on Wednesday, 75.57. Still wonderfully pleasant conditions. Thursday, we get back into the 80s, 80.63, 80.62 on Friday, and 80.64 next Saturday, if that, in fact, means anything. And we will give a quick glance to the radar. You see, there's just a little bit right up here. It's pretty much wide open, clear skies. And we deserve to have that because they were not clear earlier in the week.
Blue birds.
We received 4.17 inches of rain.
Wow.
In our storm this week, and I say only 4.17 because there were areas that were very nearby that got easily twice that. There may be a couple of people at the table who live in areas that got
A little moist.
Easily twice that much. So, and for those of you who north of town, probably between Gallatin and Coopertown, Portland, Hopkinsville, Kentucky, just a lot of areas, Chapmansboro, a lot of rainfall. But currently everything's looking good, and we're coming up on 60 degrees here. It is warming up nicely. It was 48 when I came in this morning, so it's gardening weather here in the Music City, live from the Green Room.
Yeah, it's a no excuses kind of day.
No, and I tell you what? If you look at your mom, and you better not come up with any kind of excuse.
She'll go upside your eye.
Well, I mean, and probably deserve it. If you even hesitate, don't even. I mean, you better be ahead of the curve. That's one that you cannot afford to err on the unaware side.
My little mama, 5 foot tall and 3 foot wide. I mean, she had ninja skills. You remember her?
Oh, I do.
I mean,
do.
she comes.
She could take that shoe off and fire it across the room.
Oh man, she come out of that house slipper, smack you upside the head, and come have it back on before you even blink an eye, man.
Well, I'm sure there are many other motherly experiences. We've got around the room here. We're going to welcome in Caroline Gann, Austin Lowen. Welcome in, guys.
Good morning.
And of course, the guy who gets us on the air, keeps us on the air, and works with us the best he can. Because with what he's got to work with anyway.
Even when you send pictures 3 minutes before they begin.
Yeah, Tyler Blankenship. Good morning, Tyler.
Good morning.
Welcome in. Glad to see you today.
Good morning, everyone.
Tyler.
Hey, what's up?
Hi. He's there.
So here we are. It's Mother's Day weekend, and I will tell you, the moms showed up in force yesterday. There is one I almost forgot Tyler. I mean, it was really close. I just about forgot the one other tab further. And this is about the Hillsboro West End Neighborhood Association Garden Tour that goes on tomorrow. And that is from 1 until 4 p.m. And if you go to the website hwen.org, that is the Hillsboro West End Neighborhood site. And you'll see the garden tour link right there. And there's a link to buy tickets. You just click on that, takes you right to it. And you can go over to Blakemore and let me go back
What
here.
a glorious day to get out and walk around.
Really a glorious day.
It's going to be gorgeous.
Over at Blair Boulevard at 25th Avenue South is where they'll have a stand there where you can walk up or park and walk into the neighborhood and see all the great gardens. So check all those out. You can also, while you're on the website, you can click on their garden tour link here, and it's got a few photographs. But photographs never do justice to the wonderful, incredible nature of the garden. So make sure you go support them. It's a great event to take mom out to, and get more information right there. Here we go. That's the Hillsboro West End Neighborhood Garden Tour.
Yep.
That is tomorrow, May 12th, from 1 until 4. For tickets, visit hwen.org. And Bates Nursery and Garden Centers, of course, a proud supporter of this fine event. So we're really suggest you get out there and make your presence known.
Gorgeous.
Yep.
Oh. If you want to see some blooms,
Yes.
you want to see some color, some green, some boxwoods, that would be an awesome tour to walk through. I think. I mean,
It would be.
Now,
We know of it for a fact that there's at least one Gardening Inside Out viewer that lives in that neighborhood.
Yes,
correct?
actually, at least 3 of us got to visit with Miriam yesterday.
yes.
Good morning,
Miriam.
Miriam, you were here.
Yes.
I saw
I
you.
missed you. I didn't see you.
I saw her like 3 times.
I'm jealous.
She was out here shopping.
She was, and but I was so preoccupied with what was going on, I forgot to engage her to call into the program today, so we could have her. So that is, there's just not enough bandwidth anymore. Maybe there never was. I just believe
You were
there was.
struggling with the coronal mass ejections from yesterday.
Yes,
correct?
and we have been having a CME event over the weekend here, which if you live in town like I do, it's way too much light pollution.
Yep.
Caroline got some photographs, and you said the photographs I saw on your phone were pretty outstanding, but there's much higher light gathering capacity on the still image on your iPhone than there is
Correct.
with your eyes.
Yeah, I didn't see much with my eyes. I mean, the sky was kind of pink, and I saw some colors here and there. But once I got my phone camera up, then I could really see it.
Yeah. Pretty awesome.
It was amazing.
It didn't even occur to me to try that, but
Well, since 1979, I think this has happened twice.
yeah,
1980.
there's been a couple of really
Yeah,
significant
this
events.
one's a big one, so yeah.
Well, this is not big compared to like 1921 was a really
Yes.
a large event, and then the really granddaddy of them all, the Carrington event, which happened in 65. It was there was only technology at the time was telegraphs. And so there were some telegraph stations where they could unhook the battery and it would still function.
Wow.
And there were others that simply burst into flames.
Cool.
So
Wow.
that's the only technology. There was no
Good thing Tesla wasn't around.
there was no electrical grid at the time. So I'm just saying, if you had a Carrington type event occur right now, it's estimated that it could be maybe 4 to 10 years repairing it. And you wouldn't. One thing is, your broadcast opportunities would be limited,
Yes.
or reception.
We're going to still
thereof.
do it if it happens.
Yeah,
So,
we'll
I mean,
just
we're
be
gonna-
here.
yeah.
So in case we don't get the word out, we'll just unlock the gate and you can come on in.
Right.
And we'll move it outside. So
Yeah.
hopefully that does not happen.
Okay,
So
we'll have to talk real loud too.
yeah, because it won't.
No microphones.
We might not have anything. We'll just we'll just talk. So
You'll have to bring the cart because the cars won't go, so you'll have to walk up. So
well, we'll all get in a little better shape.
yeah,
Yeah, get some steps in.
So I know we got questions out there, guys. You have any other topics you need to discover before we?
I think I'm good. Austin, you want to talk about anything?
I'm ready. I think it was a weird week for me. I missed a little bit of work because I had a flood. My creek flooded.
Tell us about that just briefly. I know you told me about it yesterday. That
It was great. I had to leave work. to go home to work to make no money and clean out my creek so I could get across to get home.
Wow.
It was an event, y'all. It rained so hard, so fast, and it made a flood over my creek that just washed everything down. I mean, it was crazy. I just had to watch it and just be like, no, this is what I have to deal with now. I mean, I literally couldn't get to work the next day. I had to work on the creek to get massive logs out. I mean, it was wild. It was a lot of rain.
Not a fun time.
No.
Oh,
Not fun at all.
Well,
missed
and
you here.
it's very important for folks to be mindful of flooding conditions, and as you hear frequently said, turn around, don't drown, don't drive across water that, unless you're very familiar, because you're driving across a creek bed, so you know where the bottom of it is, but
you know where it was.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Well, the
okay?
creek bottom is not likely to wash away
No.
if it's all stone, but a street, you don't know that. It
Right.
could disappear, and it might appear to be just a few inches deep, and you might be driving off in a big washout area. So it's very dangerous to be crossing areas where the water is covering the road.
And I wouldn't be playing in the water either, folks, particularly if you live in town. You don't want to just necessarily just be out there.
Don't know. There's probably other things to do.
Yes. So
let's get to some questions.
Okay. Let's
do
Speaking of
that.
other things to do,
Okay.
we've got a lot of hydrangea questions.
Yeah.
So we're going to just get those out soon. We got a live one in from Jack Lynn on our Facebook page that asks, my young hydrangea plants are looking like Swiss cheese. Help.
Oh, goodness.
I like Swiss cheese.
I do too. I
It
love
tastes
Swiss
good.
cheese.
Doesn't look good whenever it looks
No,
like that.
unless
I'm assuming,
it's a Swiss cheese plant.
but it's not. It's a hydrangea. And Swiss cheese typically means bugs, I would assume. I would assume you've got a caterpillar problem, probably. Now, hydrangeas aren't like the most susceptible plant to bugs. Like, for some reason, bugs don't seem to be on hydrangeas all that much. But if you have random caterpillars that hatch and immediately start eating, which is what they do, then that will typically create holes. So we need send us some pictures. I want to see what's going on because that Swiss cheese is not what we want with hydrangeas.
Definitely not.
No,
I know you'd be mad if yours looked like that.
I'd be furious.
You'd be so annoyed. How about this? Can you grow hydrangeas in containers?
Of course.
Yes, I have some in containers, and they look so good right now.
Don't go out of town like in August and don't have anybody to water them because that's the biggest key with hydrangeas. They're thirsty creatures. Okay, so if you do leave, during the heat of the summer or whatever, like make sure you have somebody to help water.
Vacationing in August in general for avid gardeners is dangerous.
It's dangerous. That's a good point.
You just got to
David.
have somebody to be responsible, and can you really trust them? That's when you'll find out.
And things in the ground are a lot easier to deal with, but things in containers are different. Okay,
They are very different. I do have to water my hydrangeas that are in containers more.
You definitely do. They'll wilt. You water them, they'll perk back up in 20 minutes.
But they look great. I love them. Super cute. How about full sun hydrangeas?
Yes, there is a species. It's the paniculatas, okay? It's the big ones, the ones that really get large. So this is the quickfire, this is limelight, little lime, bobo, all of those. There's like 20 different varieties now when it comes to the paniculata world, and they are all the full sun hydrangeas. There's treeform varieties, and they're all going to come out kind of that limey green, go to that pure white, and then fade to that kind of pinkish. And that's what they do. And they're on like a cone shape. They're not a round bloom. They're much more coned. And yeah, they'll handle the full sun just fine.
yeah, I have a neighbor that has a forest of them in the front yard, and it is stunning and just brutal all day sun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They can handle it just fine.
Yeah, I've got some that just get roasted on the side of my house from sun up to sundown, and they get so many blooms. They're so happy.
They love it.
Let's talk about a peewee hydrangea tree that has a single trunk which folded over in the rain. Will it survive? That sounds like your locust tree.
I'm assuming they're talking
No.
Don't you think, David, they would be talking PG?
Well,
not
there is
peewee?
I think there is a peewee, but that's probably a cultivar of a
Tequila?
no, of a of an oak leaf hydrangea. I think there is
Oh, yeah.
but I have never seen one grown in
On
a
a
tree
tree
form.
form, no.
So it's probably a PG.
Yeah, which would
or
be
some cultivar.
That's a paniculata style, an old school.
But
you
the
know,
long story short is not dead.
no,
PG? Is it PG-13?
no.
No, just PG.
It's paniculata grandiflora. That kind of PG.
There it is,
Very
Josh.
good.
But hey, if it is folded over, still,
We all speak horticulture all the time. You gotta dumb it down, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's what PG is,
PG,
Josh.
okay.
Yeah, it's
Dumbing it
PG
down?
for you.
Okay, very good.
But hey, if it's folded over and still bent and it's not broken, then good. It's still good. It's it's alive. But we need to get that pulled back up and we need to get it staked. Probably. It sounds like the stem is a little bit weak for the top, which happens a lot. A lot of times the stem will be kind of small, the head will be very large, and then wind is a problem.
You know, it might not be a bad idea if, once you get it staked, is to shear it back pretty good also, because it's obviously dealing with a lot of vegetative growth on the top, which particularly when you're having deluge conditions. Now, this will delay your flowering a little bit, but it won't keep it from flowering. So,
Yeah,
you might
giving it a good cutback now will make it produce way more leaves and then produce a lot of more blooms atop of that.
They
So
may
it's
not be
bad.
quite as large, but
No.
they'll be more profuse, and you'll have a lot more of them.
Yeah, and then make sure you do a heavy pruning over the wintertime with these, okay, y'all? It's
a
they
big
get
mistake.
heady. Yeah.
Yep.
You got to really get them back in check over the wintertime. So, make sure we do that as well. And then hopefully you won't have that turn down problem.
That turn down
That was
problem.
a horrible sentence.
But you did a cool dance move. You were
Not
doing
a
the
dance
robot. Wow.
It's all about it.
All right, final hydrangea question of the morning. Unless we get any live ones in. My leaves on my oak leaf hydrangeas are curling in on themselves. Thoughts?
Interesting. Sometimes it curling up on themselves, sometimes it's an overwater scenario. I know that's the case with tomatoes. A number of other plants will do that as well, so it could be. It's rare, though, that a hydrangea is overwatered. A lot of times that's not the case. Check for aphids. They will be on the insides of those curling leaves. They make leaves curl sometimes as well, so it could be an aphid issue. But once again, send us some pics. Let's look at this, because that's cool. I mean, no, it's not cool. I'm sorry. It's not cool for you.
But it's cool for you to try to figure out.
Well, it's
That
one
is.
of those things that they say, one look's worth 1,000 words. But when two people look at something, both people don't see the same thing. And
You know my wife.
well,
Okay.
all I'm saying is that since we're horticulturalists,
Yes.
we view things perhaps slightly different than maybe you do, and it's not your full-time job.
Poof.
So
Yes.
it may be that one little visual cue could be the difference maker in
oh, yeah.
diagnosing the problem properly.
Yes, totally.
All right.
Oh wow, that was the first time there's ever been silence on this show. That was weird. We only got one cicada question in, so
Well,
let's get
that's
to
a
it.
good thing
It's a
because
very
they
good
have been
thing.
underwhelming to this point, which
they
is
have.
wonderful.
I have none on my property.
You
I
wanna
haven't
come to my
seen
house? I'll
one
give you
shell.
all of
I
them
haven't
you
seen
want.
any. I haven't heard them. Zero.
Interesting. I
you
heard
have any?
not many. I heard one literally yesterday.
Yeah.
And it was very loud in my crepe myrtle next to me where I
Oh,
sit on
no.
the front porch. But other than that, no, it has not been bad. Now, we do have a coworker that works here, Darby, one of our cashiers up front.
Love Darby.
She showed us a video.
It was crazy.
It was insane, the amount of cicadas she had at the base
Piles
of this
of
tree.
shells at the
Literally
bottom.
piles. Like, that's a good word. They were like on top of themselves.
Yeah.
Wow.
The
And you
shells,
could
the
just see 'em
crawlers.
crawling up that tree.
All of it. So they're out there for sure. They're not where we live for
Josh,
some
do you
reason.
have a lot?
In Smyrna, they were right where we live, and I live. If you
And what area does she live in?
Goodlettsville.
Goodlettsville.
But
But
it's very strange because that's as the
I
crow
actually-
flies.
But
it's
she
not
actually
that far.
lives a couple houses down from Ben Trust, who's one of our landscape specialists, and Ben is like, I don't really have any.
Yeah.
That's very unusual.
it's
Yeah.
it's almost to the point of unnerving during the middle part of the day because of the noise. I mean, it's so much at night, not really early in the morning, but from about 10 to 3.
They like it hot.
Oh man,
They go wild.
and it's noisy.
They only got one thing on their mind.
Right, well,
That's
okay.
true. Yeah.
So
Let's get to that question.
Okay.
Can we just leave all the cicada shells on the plants, or should they be picked off?
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. That's up to you. Do you like the look of them on your plants? Do you not? Take them off. Either
Off
way,
the
doesn't matter.
fence.
Bug pins. Take them off, put them on your sweater, and wear them.
Really?
Yeah, the
No.
little legs stick to you
No.
like Velcro.
Because all
My
those
sister used to do all the
they're
time.
just the exoskeleton that they've shed off, so they're not really they're not really a bug. They're just what the insect came
They're
out
so
of.
cool.
They're a mere shell of themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
That
They
was-
do stick to you, but don't stick them to you. Nobody does that.
Yes, actually, I do, and some other people do. I'm sure.
don't.
It's a great thing to put into a
Excuse
little
me?
girl's hair.
You could probably make some kind of an interesting, like a wig or something out of them. Like,
Yuck.
just get a wig and just put hundreds of them in there, and then you could save it for Halloween. There's an idea for somebody.
I don't know
There
about
is.
that.
Very good.
Yep. But it seems like they'll get crunched up and turned into good compost or something
Yeah, and it
to
might-
feed the plants, to
But
feed
it's
the
a whole
animals
lot
all
easier
around.
just to maybe get a bag of
Well,
this stuff called
you can
Supernatural.
you can compost almost anything.
They're good for compost.
But what happens is when you compost, and I think I closed my browser for whatever reason. Let me try it this way. There we go.
There it is.
You can try a compost called Supernatural made by Earth Mix.
Yes.
And what differentiates Supernatural from probably any other compost in the marketplace is that it is done by recipe, in that it has the exact same amount of the exact same inputs every batch that is created.
But it has no cicadas. Ever.
You know what? This time of year, it could
It
be
might.
that
It could
it could happen, but it's organic material.
Yeah, it's
It'll
good stuff.
decompose. So
Okay.
there's none added
Right.
by the developers.
Okay.
It just nature adds what it adds. But Earth Mix Supernatural is a very vibrant energizer. If you have had soil that you have been planting in your garden for a number of years, it's a great product to use to be able to revitalize your soils. It really introduces a lot of new microbes into your soil, endo and ecto mycorrhiza fungi. It also it has been enriched with extra humic acid. And when you put that with the Supernatural compost, which, by the way, contains poultry litter
Yes.
and earthworm castings and mushroom compost,
Oh my.
among other things. So only the finest ingredients
Yeah.
go into it, and what you get is predictable results every bag. And as a consequence of that, Supernatural is also an input into several other Earth Mix brand products downstream, such as Earth Mix Garden, Proganics O. So if you want to get the very best in gardening, check out Earth Mix Garden products. Now, it is widely available all over, and it used to simply be just in the South here. We are very fortunate now to have folks that have stepped up the game out in Meridian, Idaho. That's Victory Gardens Nursery way out there. So we want to extend a welcome to those and encourage you to visit that location and all of what they have. Of course, they're all over Middle Tennessee and Kentucky as well, with great places around the Farmer's Basket of Murray and a lot of other Grow Appalachia. So check all those out over at earthmix.net. You can either put your address in to the box here, or you can zoom in for a location nearest you. Just remember this: a success in gardening begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix garden products, and you're going to get predictable results. We're going to take the work out of it for you, and because really, if you're going to be successful in it, you got to remove the guesswork. And when you buy bags of other stuff, there's actually quite a bit of guesswork involved. So check it out at one of the many fine sellers of Earth Mix garden products. So thank you for giving us a moment to talk about that.
All right. We did get a couple live comments and questions in about cicadas. So Jane Ann says, cicadas roaring close to Opryland. I sweep up a pile each morning at the back door, add to the compost.
There you go.
Good work.
That's that old
And
part of
then-
Madison, that Madison corridor down there, the older neighborhoods. I'm wondering if there's a trend forming there. Because that's a lot of that stuff was built around the 50s. They go into these areas when, I don't know if you ever see the new construction, but they scrape off
Yeah, everything's
basically
gone.
everything that would have been there. So I don't know if that has a contributing factor.
Well,
Could
if you
be.
scrape off
All
where
the
they're,
topsoil.
where they had been buried
13 years ago or 17 years ago.
you can say those are gone.
Yes.
Sounds
likely.
kind of sad. Poor little buddies.
Or paved over or concreted over. You know, that happens.
They can't get out if that's the case. Oh, no. Okay, and then our question is, should I cover, and then with netting, my 2-year-old redbud to protect from cicadas? That comes from Teresa.
Unless you just have way too much time on your hands.
Or a lot of netting laying around.
Or not, or both. You know, there's no threat to any tree. Now, the only threat is, and this is a possibility, particularly when you have a lot of them, that they're going to lay eggs right underneath the bark on these stems that are about the size of a number 2 pencil or maybe a little smaller. And because of that, when those eggs grow and swell, it weakens the stem, and that stem can do what we call flagging. It'll just simply snap off. And that branch will, beyond that point, will die off, but the tree won't be dead. No. It's like a pruning that nature does. So.
Yeah, the netting can even sometimes do more damage than what the cicadas even would do. Wind gets a hold of it, they get to floppy. I'm not doing any of that.
Nope.
You're not going to.
No.
Not gonna do it.
Not gonna do it.
Gonna do it. Wouldn't be prudent.
Okay. So we have somebody asking just, when is a good time to trim my hedges? Josh?
Josh.
3:30?
Okay, there you go.
3:30 is going to be nice today.
Yes.
It is.
Great.
Not too cold anymore.
All right, so typically, though, like, this isn't necessarily the time to prune. Now, hedges, that's a very broad term.
Yes.
If you're talking about, like, hollies or something that's forming a hedge, you're talking about, like, yews that form a hedge, things like this. If they're getting wild hairs, they're shooting up, they're getting big, whatever, like an established hedge is not going to, like, die or anything if you prune it now. We typically don't recommend pruning now. They're kind of growing now.
I mean, if it's a privet hedge, there's...
Oh, yeah, cut it to the dirt. Who cares?
Yes.
Really?
And, a lot of hedges that are established are fine by doing that. Typically, I like to recommend a lot of times is going to be around that February time. We get them back in check. That way they flush nice and uniform so they're not all wild and gangly where you have to prune them this time of year. But, like I said, and it's an established hedge can be cut.
Can be done. How often should I fertilize azaleas, both established and newly planted?
Good question.
That is a great question.
Azaleas are kind of heavy feeders. They kind of are. They've got a very fibrous root system. So getting them fertilized in the spring, typically every spring, is a really good practice to do, whether it's just with our compost, our supernatural that you can lay on top, which is always a good practice. And then also maybe some hollytone for those kind of acid-loving plants, which azaleas are.
And I will share this with you if you're an azalea lover. One thing you do not want to do is to cultivate around azaleas, just for the reason that Austin mentioned. They have very fine, hair-like, fibrous root systems right at the surface. People who cultivate can do way more damage. So you don't want to do that. It's okay to pull weeds out and that kind of thing, but don't run a little tiller in around them. You'll destroy them. So don't do that.
That's a good point.
All right. I've had white gumbo azaleas in the ground for 3 years, and they have never flowered. What gives?
Well, it's been the last 3 years.
Gumbo.
2 of the last gumbo azaleas.
Gumbo.
So the last 2 of those 3 years have been severely cold. We've had, not extended cold spells, but this is where the difference between a meteorological severe winter and a horticultural severe winter is. It only takes a single night to be horticulturally severe, and we've managed to have that each of the last 2 years. Maybe it was a slightly more than a night, but it matters not. You get damage that occurs, and gumpos are not the most hardy of azaleas. The plant will survive, but the buds will freeze out. You get a lot of dead wood on the tips. All you can do is trim and fertilize and let them flush back out and hope that doesn't happen next year. And if you get totally put out with it, you might try a different cultivar.
You might give it a name too. You know what that one would be? Bubba Gumpo.
Sounds like you need to take some
I see
home.
one in your future, Josh.
Bubba Gumpo.
Which would be blooming.
And that
at
is
some
exactly what we can depend on, Josh. The input, we can give. So thank you, Josh.
Well,
Yes,
you're
that
welcome.
was wonderful.
I mean, you got to have a name, right?
And now you got to have one of
What's
those.
in bloom?
Oh,
With Austin.
You
Surprise.
snuck it in, Tyler. All right. So there's a lot of things blooming, but we're also, me and Caroline talked this morning, it's kind of a little bit of a lull period right now.
In between.
It's a little in between, but there's still some things going. Hey, shout out to the Monarch butterflies. Your milkweed is in bloom. Yo.
Yes.
They're doing good. Your yarrow. Hey, daylilies just started. Ann in the office told me about daylilies. She also told me about mini pearl phlox. Her words exactly, an excellent cultivar of phlox. So if you want a kind of a small garden phlox, mini pearl is a really pretty one.
Is that one called Hemerocallis Mrs. Henry Cannon? That was her actually. That was who she actually was, or Sarah
Okay.
Cannon. Sarah
Oh,
Cannon.
yeah, Sarah Cannon. I remember that.
Sarah, yes, Sarah.
There you go. If you like white, the Shasta daisies are blooming. Catnip's still going, although getting a little bit ratty. Hey, just started the red hot pokers. Enjoy those for about a week because that's all you got. They are a short blooming plant, but when they bloom, they're really pretty. Salvia and my creeping thyme still at the house, going nuts. Caroline's poppies are going. Her verbena is going. So great. My clematis is still going. What's not going anymore is Caroline's crossvine.
But the leaves look great.
Yep.
Honeysuckle as a vine still going nuts in the woods, okay? Your roses, y'all, looking good this year. Doing nice. They're starting to get buggy, though. Come out and see me. I'll help you out on that because it's happening. Spirea. Shout out Shannon, who's a landscape specialist, loves the spirea. It's going. Hey, it's hydrangea season. It just started. Oak leaf hydrangeas. Tyler, you've got one, don't you?
I do.
Okay. Get ready for me to talk about hydrangeas for weeks because
It's
it just
time.
started. I love it. Hey, your Itea, the sweet spire, y'all, the wet spot, the dry spot, the shady spot, the sunny spot, don't matter. Itea is going to live. It is
They love
blooming
it.
right
They
now.
can take it all.
They can take it all. Smoke trees are lit.
Look in the corner. We won't talk about it more.
Hey, Caroline's mock orange. She got that for her
Yes.
birthday last year. That's in bloom, blooming white, smelling good. Get
Yes.
you one of those. They're rare, but when they're in bloom, they're pretty. Hey, magnolias just started. You know what they're doing? They're blooming at the same time that they're shedding and leafing. There's this whole thing happening
Yes.
with magnolia
Not
right now.
hydrangeas. I know that's all you want to think about.
Quite
Stop.
an active thing
Yes.
going on. A lot of people, I've had some questions this week from folks. What's wrong with them? Nothing.
Nothing.
It's called
Nothing.
spring. They're dropping off the old. They're putting out the new, and the
And
flowers are
blooming.
coming with it. Yes.
Isn't it crazy? Magnolias,
Yes.
yes, awesome. Okay, hey, weird one, Chinese chestnut. They're looking good. They're blooming right now. You don't even think about a Chinese chestnut till they're in bloom. This big rounded crown tree, awesome. The Coosa dogwoods are still going, but just about on their way out. They're kind of not a really long one either, but when they're in show, they're really beautiful. Okay, catalpa trees, big ones, big old leaves. Catalpas are in bloom, blooming white. I love those. The nasty ones, the primrose.
We used to smoke the what we call it Indian cigars, because they have these long seed pods on them. When we were kids, we would smoke them because they were not smooth.
No.
All right, smoking catalpa, baby. Love it. All right, the nasty ones, the primrose and the privet, still going bad, still going bad. And then finally, shout out to the farmers of the world. Beans are up. Corn is
they
up,
are.
people.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Corn is up. They ain't blooming. No, they ain't blooming. I know this is in bloom. They ain't blooming, but they're up. Beans, corn, it's up. Farmers, thank you.
Prime gardening time.
That's what's in bloom.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
I think you named a lot of things.
You're right.
I was going to say everything, but I was like, I'm sure
the
there were.
primrose are bad.
It does suck.
Really, that's horrible.
Yeah, it is. They're not fun to get rid of. Hey, but you know what I've talked about? You grow the misty lilac petunias.
It does look
They
just
look
like
just like the primrose, except they're not horrible, noxious weeds.
All right.
Grow them, people.
Yeah. I've got the upright primrose that's yellow.
That one's not bad.
Yeah, well, we
It
What?
spreads by
What?
seed.
Speak your mind.
It spreads by seed. It's pretty bad. I planted it, and now it just blows into all my beds.
No.
Yeah.
I got to go to a special event honoring Burdell Campbell, wonderful Nashville treasure, and I got to see a whole lot of folks here who are gracious enough to be customers of Bates Nursery and Garden Center. And well, one of the most frequent comments I got was just how passionate Austin is about plants, and they loved it. So anyway,
Very cool.
they're very appreciative of your passion for horticulture, Austin.
good.
I told him it's legit. It's real.
It is
come
real.
out here. That's
Yeah.
exactly what you're going to get.
Oh,
live
yeah.
and in person.
Oh,
So.
I'm gonna tell it to you like it is on the lot, just like I would on this show. I love it, every part of it. I hate some parts of it. I'm annoyed by lots of parts of it.
Yes,
but
you are.
all of it's great, y'all. It's great. It's gardening. It's part of it. Let's suffer, but also love it together.
It's called passion, and you have so much of it.
Yes.
Hey, let's get to some listener photos. Tyler, if you're ready for it.
Yeah, start off with Colin.
Let's
since we
start
left
off with
off.
Colin.
I talked to Colin this week. He was out.
Yeah,
we were
shout
talking.
out to Colin.
Love you, Col.
So he sent this photo in last week. We didn't get it up, but we're getting it up today. So he sent in his Globemaster allium.
Oh,
Oh,
He
my
says it's
word.
still opening, and currently in this photo, it's 9 inches in diameter.
Wow.
Colin, that's as big as your head. Then look at your bed.
That's as big as some youth basketballs.
That is.
Yeah.
That's.
How do you measure
I don't know
volleyball?
if I don't know
Tiny
if
in
I could palm
comparison.
that or not. That's
Yeah, I've got Millennium. Those aren't too big. That I might have to get one of these after seeing Collins. That's stunning.
That's stunning.
that is
And-
outstanding.
Good job.
not
Colin.
yet,
Sorry,
Derek.
Colin.
Sorry, I was-
and those are
I thought
expensive.
we had
Those
more.
bulbs are expensive,
Yes,
but
they
they are
are.
worth. Look at that. It's worth it. There's God. You got how many? I can even see some in the background.
Yeah.
3, 6, 7, just dotted in amongst your other foliage.
A
Oh,
few
my
years
goodness.
ago, I got an opportunity to tour some English gardens, actually in England, and the use of allium in a lot of their gardens
Yeah.
there is incredible.
It's so good.
I mean,
Really.
it's outstanding. So
I love that.
And they're just so dependable too.
Yeah.
Like just easy to come back. One of the first, the onions in your lawn are the first ones to come back. Same in your bed. They're the first ones to kind of jump.
There's that second photo.
Look,
Yeah, they got separated.
Colin,
And look what's behind it in red.
Some peonies, I think, right?
is that a peony back there? I can't even tell what that is.
A little blurry.
I think it is, although I could be
Almost a
wrong.
daylily looking with the.
Oh, wow.
Colin will comment what
Colin,
it is.
get to
Yeah,
Maybe
Colin,
that is a
get to
peony.
it.
Yeah, get to it. Get on.
Colin
Good
did give
work.
Tyler a shout out. He said, shout out to Tyler. on
Yeah,
our
thanks,
YouTube
Colin.
page. Those
Love
are
you back.
fantastic. And our next round of photos comes from Melinda Perry. She sent a couple of sets of her mix containers that she made because we did call out to send in mix containers.
Nice.
And hers are really, really nice. Kind of on the purple theme that we have going on with, I was about to say with Tyler's photos, with Colin's photos.
Let's
so
see
let's,
it.
let's
there
see
it
it.
is.
Olive tree. There's some lavender topiary. It's like a silvery purple look. I am a big fan.
A
Beautiful
wonderful
containers, too.
Mediterranean look right there.
it
really is.
That is awesome.
Yeah, the use of silver with purple is so good. Look at
This
that.
one.
It's like trailing verbena.
It's
out
a
front.
lemon tree. It might be a lime or some type of
gonna say, that
citrus.
looks like
but
citrus.
There is citrus, and it has little blooms on it because I was admiring these photos when they came in on our email, and then just some annuals mixed in.
And look at the awesome watering can you just keep out
Yes.
the front. Like that's a cool scene. I like that look.
And
That's a
the-
great watering
photo.
can.
And
Yeah,
the
that's
thistle
a fancy
feeders
one.
up there on
It's
the
a
bird feeder.
statement
Amazing.
accent.
Yeah.
It is. That's a great idea.
I love the little vent that's duals as a support. You know, you see the one that comes from the top of the mouth opening down to it. We just moved
Sorry.
off of it now. There.
Yes.
Not the one from the bottom, but the one that comes from the mouth down. That actually is functional from a support standpoint, but it also keeps it from gurgling so bad because it allows air to get into that long spout.
yeah.
We need to get some of those here.
Anti-
That's a
Talk
good
with
watering
Paula
can.
about
I've
that.
seen those. That's a good watering
I've already
can.
talked to her about it.
Colin,
Wow,
We're
Tyler
gonna
is
have to try
already
and
on it.
convince her, though.
We'll all talk to her.
They are
Colin-
expensive, I think.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Colin did confirm that they were peonies and they bloomed for a whole 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Me and Colin talked about that.
But it's worth it.
Those are expensive, but they themselves are just like in that photograph. They're an accent. They're something you can put out there. It looks like it's supposed to be there.
Right. I love them. And the leaves on peonies look great even after they've bloomed. We did get some photos in from Risha. Shout out to Risha.
We've
Hope
only
you're
got
doing well.
one cicada in Smyrna.
Right,
Okay.
only one.
I know your neighborhood. That's new. So
But Risha did send in a photo of some rubber trees. Unfortunately, we can't get it up as the photos were a little bit too small, but we can answer this question. So Risha's husband had a rubber tree that was a funeral gift, brought it to his office, doing great, has grown a lot. But now, as her husband is retiring, they're going to bring that rubber tree home.
Congratulations,
Yes,
Edward, by the way.
congratulations. So she's just wondering how to care for it. So Risha, all you're going to need to do is try to get the light the same as what I believe Jim had in the office. So bring that rubber tree home.
Edward.
Get it, Edward. I don't know where I got Jim from. I thought I glanced down and saw it.
Jim,
Oh, I was looking at the
James
word
Edward.
June.
Okay.
Get it in that same or close to that same lighting. Rubber tree do like bright light, some direct sunlight, and then just water it the same. Those are really, really easy plants. She asked, will it survive if he brings it home? Yes, it will.
It's possible.
Just fine. Yeah, it's possible. You got this, Risha. And the plant in the photos that I saw, they looked great. It's very large, very healthy.
Yep.
It's gonna be wonderful.
Good.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
fantastic. All right, let's get to a peony question because we talked about Collins. How should I care for my peonies once they have bloomed for the season? Just leave them up.
Yeah, just don't do anything.
I don't do
really.
anything at all.
No.
I let those leaves get energy for the rest of the year until they go dormant.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. That's the biggest thing is that even whenever peony leaves start to get nasty, which they typically do once late summer into fall comes around, they tend to get spotty, y'all. They're not the cleanest looking thing on the planet. But like Caroline just said, leave the plant up as much as you can. That green that's happening this year is making photosynthesis happen. It's creating every bit of energy for next year, okay? So even if they look a little rough, leave them up. Don't cut them too early. Once they go totally brown and just kind of get mushy, once frost comes around, then give them a clear cut. So that's about it, really.
Yep.
I mean,
Ito peonies are a great alternative type of peony. They are hybridized. They're a cross between a tree form and an herbaceous, and they're much more resilient to leaf problems, and they don't flop. And I have to know a place where you might be able to find some of those. I haven't looked to see what we have on hand now because we sold
They
a
were
bunch
there this
yesterday.
they
spring.
sell
Yeah.
so quick,
Is Bates Nursery and Garden Center. That's right where we are today. And if you check out the website, batesnursery.com, you'll see just a good overview of what all we have. There's my grandmother there who started our business 92 years ago. So I'm very grateful to get to continue to do this thing in her honor. And we have been beautifying Nashville since that time. And if you want to know what that means exactly, well, you got to come out and see us because we have everything. This is where I have to hold it back because I sound like Austin. I start getting, really passionate about it because
Don't hold back, David.
we got some stuff.
Yeah,
Go
baby.
on with it, baby.
No
Testify,
matter
David.
what you're
Testify.
talking about, if you're talking about shade perennials, sun perennials, shade plants, fruit trees, ornamental trees, shade trees, annuals,
Herbs.
or if you're talking about annuals, Jane would love for you to come see her down in the greenhouse today because we got annuals that are, it's kind of like a marketplace because there's just so many. I mean, you will absolutely find at least something, probably several somethings for Mom. If you come out to see us this weekend, we are not and will not be picked over. You just got to come out and see how much we've got. It's pretty amazing here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center. We have plenty of free parking, by the way. We expanded our parking last year. So you're going to have a place to park on the pavement. You're not going to slog through the mud.
No.
Now, there are some areas, if you go way down back, there is some. So, yeah. But you don't have to get in it.
No.
Because you're coming with Mom and you don't have to wear boots. You can stay on the pavement and keep your shoes nice and clean and survey everything you need for your lawn, your landscape, for your garden. We have it all here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center. And of course, we are proud sellers of Earth Mix garden products. So no matter what you're trying to grow, there is an Earth Mix variety and Earth Mix products, especially adept at that particular purpose. Takes the work out of gardening. So come see us. We are conveniently located 1 mile north of Briley Parkway at exit 19 on Whites Creek Pike. That's just minutes from Rivergate, Opry Mills, Nashville West, downtown Nashville. And no matter where you're coming from, it is worth the drive. We have folks that make unbelievably long drives. Last week, Austin, you talked about a couple from Michigan who came and bought some blue spruce from us, which really blows my mind.
Yeah.
But they came equipped with the things to wrap them with so that they could get them home safely. So we're always glad to have our visitors from outside of the Nashville area come see us. We're prime for you. Bates Nursery and Garden Center. Again, beautifying Nashville since 1932. Got to come see us.
Folks, today's like today and tomorrow are the days that you need to see Bates Nursery and Garden Center in action. Beautiful temperature, beautiful sky, beautiful sun, all the help around for you,
and if you don't,
selection that is unparalleled.
If you don't have any idea about what we've got, just go to our website. You can either click on the tabs by location, and it'll give you ideas of what we've got by sun, shade for all types of growth habit. If you go by shrubs, here's Austin's favorite section here, the roses.
Oh.
Gosh.
So
Look at 'em.
Anyway, we've got lots to choose from, all different types. There will be something for Mom here, and if by chance you can't make it out, but you want Mom to know that I'm thinking about you, go over to the gift card section right there, and you can get a gift card in any amount. You just put it in there, and you can, best of all, if you can't come out, you can email it directly to her.
Yep.
So she didn't have to come pick it up. You can send it to her, and then she can bring it with her when she comes out to get exactly what she wants, because you don't want to be guessing.
No,
about stuff
you
for
can
Mom.
order that anywhere on the planet and send it to Mom. If you happen to live outside the territory, you can
Sure.
order it and send it to Mom, and she can come
Absolutely.
and shop.
And we have a lot of folks who are kind enough
Yep.
to do that. So
Yep.
check it out, batesnursery.com. Come see us, Bates Nursery and Garden Center.
What's in room with Caroline?
Oh,
Sneaking another one in.
I know
man.
Tyler's on fire this
Yeah, he
morning.
is.
We're
Tyler is
hopping.
killing it right now. So these are just some things that you can come into the nursery and get today. So in the corners, we've got smoke trees. These are actual trees. They are standard. So it's looking like a tree.
We did bring
up
fire
above David's
extinguishers
head,
in just in case.
just in case they
Yes.
take off. I love them. I know Josh loves them.
yes.
Look at that. It looks smoky right above my head. There we go. And then under the TV, we've got some hydrangeas. Great Mother's Day gift. If you are still thinking about what to get, you can put it in a really pretty, there they are.
There they
a really
are.
pretty pot. These are called Let's Dance Ariba.
Arriba.
Y'all come on and get these. These are super cute. They've got pointed little petals. You can see it right behind this geranium. How about let's look at these taller ones? Oh, wow. Yes, we love hydrangeas in this room. And let's go ahead and move to what's in front of the table. Right in front of Austin here. We've talked a little bit about Shasta daisies, but I did bring some in. They're cute. They're white. Austin's is blooming. Mine is not blooming yet. I don't think it's getting quite as much sun. In front of that, we've got a little bit of dianthus. I love dianthus. Great little ground cover. It's going to bloom. This time of year, it's about bloomed out, but mine is still going just a little bit. Thank you. And then to the left of that, I believe it's y'all's left. No, it's my left. We've got salvia. So those little white plants down in front, the dainty little flowers. There it is. Yes.
Love 'em.
And of course, we had to bring some boxwoods in, our classic look down in front. On the sides, we've got some dappled willows. These are very popular.
Cool plant, by the way.
Really cool plant. You can cut them, propagate them really easily. If you buy one, you can make tons more. There it is. So I went with the pink and white theme today. You can see the white and pink in that. The more sun they get, the more pink they're going to be.
And they get big.
And they get big. They
Quickly.
like water. I planted one
Yes.
2 years ago, never watered it. It died right away.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I made a mistake. That's my bad, not the plant. But they grow like a weed if you actually water them in. And then lastly, on our Lazy Susan, we've got Monarda. Look at her. This one is
Bee-balm.
called Pardon My Rose. This came in yesterday, and all of them were about gone. I kind of felt bad bringing them in, but they will sell today. I know Debbie, one of our workers down in the greenhouse, she grabbed two. She was like, those came in, and I just looked at them. I'm going to go ahead and get a couple. But they are so cute. Oh, there we go. We're panning to the Lazy Susan.
Oh, look at the geraniums out in front of that. Good work, Caroline. That's a good.
Thank
that's
you.
a good look.
And if you're wondering about those geraniums in front, I did bring a couple mixed containers in that are already made ready to go. So if you want to come out to the nursery, if you don't have time to make your own mixed container, plant something, you want something that's ready to go, we do have quite a few back in the annual greenhouse. This one's got geranium, petunias, which Austin loves, and this
to.
little annual euphorbia. I can't remember the name of it. Austin, I know you used it one year in your mixed containers and it ate it.
It explodes.
It explodes. Yeah. But I went with kind of a Mother's Day theme. We got some pink, some white, lots of flowers in here. Again, so many things here at the nursery to choose from.
Great work. Caroline.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
It's a pretty set.
Thank you kindly.
I never look at B-Bomb/Menarda. That I don't think of Beth Flood, who was our landscape designer for many years, and she passed away a couple of years ago. But I still have many wonderful thoughts of her. She was well known by gardening enthusiasts all over the Middle Tennessee
Yes.
area. So thinking about you, Beth, today, and for your daughters who I know hold you in a special memory.
Colin wants to know, is the bee balm perennial?
Yes, it is perennial.
Okay.
I've got, I would say the most aggressive one is going to be Jacob Klein that gets really tall and blooms red. So if you're looking for it to cover a big area, these cute little more compact hybrids, they come back year to year, but they're not quite as clean as, as they are when you buy them at the nursery. But still,
They
perennial.
spread like crazy. Monarda can get nuts. Let's just be honest here.
It can, yeah. It can, but it's worth it. I've got multiple different types of them, and I love them.
one. That one's going.
Okay. Josh found his plant. You're not going to get the azalea, but that's all right. Maybe next year. All right. We did get some live questions in. Joan is asking, how much can you trim off an established green velvet boxwood? Is it best to cut more now or cut a little now and again later in the season? And then she says, also last year, y'all gave me a good tip to use WD-40 on hedge trimmers. Last year, I trimmed boxwoods. They were brown on top. WD-40 helped with that. Thanks, Joan.
Thanks, Joan. All right, Joan. I wonder what your velvets look like right now. I mean, if they're like out of bounds, kind of like what we talked about earlier with the hedges. I mean, if what do they look like to you?
They're about 2 months behind the curve on boxwood trimming.
Typically, yeah, we're not necessarily typically they're flushed right now, and this is when they kind of look the best. Like my velvets are so pretty right now.
Mine are too.
Just about perfect.
Yeah, they really are. So I mean, if you feel like you want to shape it up because you don't like maybe it's growing a little funky on one side or whatever, I guess you could trim. But right now it's kind of a light trim, if you ask me. We typically give boxwood a good trim kind of at February time before they flush, so they do flush uniformly. So that's what I got for you.
Yeah, and if the foliage has not hardened off, you don't want to trim it yet. You just give it another week or two to allow that foliage to have that more similar feel to the more mature foliage that's underneath it. What can happen is, and you talked about cleaning your shears with WD-40, which works really well. Don't overdo it.
Yeah.
And also take a cloth and wipe them off before you start trimming with them. Mm-hmm. But if the growth is too juvenile, you're going to wind up mashing it, and it won't cut cleanly unless you've got a really good pair of shears like ARS, which are like scissors. They're surgically sharp.
They will bite you.
Don't get your fingers up there. They are professional quality, so just be careful if you're using those.
Watch those fingers. All right, Nicole asks, can you move established peonies after blooming? Yes, you can. I have moved mine in the fall. I find that to be the best time.
It's typically what we recommend. Like all the time, we recommend dormancy was whenever you kind of want to lift and move bulbs, or any perennial for that matter. But peonies are very, very hardy creatures. Okay, so if once they're done blooming, you can move them. Just make sure you're ready. Make sure you're ready to water and get them in that site that you want them.
Yep. And Jessica asks, what's wrong with primrose? It is pretty invasive, very invasive. It just takes over.
Yeah. Drive through rural Rutherford County and watch the sides of the roads. I mean, it's rivals
everywhere.
It rivals the Bradford pear in how badly
But
it's beautiful.
It's the ground cover.
Yes,
That's the thing. But I'm kind of like you said, Jessica. I'm kind of with you on this. It's like, what is wrong with it? I don't know that it necessarily like messes up nature or natural what's going on around here. I mean, if you've got the space for it and you like it, I mean, then no, there's really nothing wrong with it.
I've seen it on hillsides and it's stunning. And I mean, there's not a lot you can do with hillsides. And so that's a good option. But planting it in your landscaping and your garden beds, that's where you're going to run into an issue because it's going to want to eat everything.
It eats everything. Yeah.
Think mint.
Mint.
I'll be battling mint until the day I die.
Last week's shows.
Well, I hope it's quite a long time for the record.
Yeah.
Last week we had a comment on the Facebook page about above ground garden. So I had this in mind to come across. The question was, is there an advantage or disadvantage to using wood versus the galvanized planters that are for above ground gardening? I mean, he was concerned about the heat that would be generated with a galvanized tub.
I mean, people a lot of times plant stuff in a galvanized thing.
Yeah, I see it all the time. I haven't.
The thing about a galvanized container is at least it is quite reflective.
Yes.
And, because it's metal, sure, the temperature, the capacity for it to change temperature quickly is there, but because it is highly reflective, it's not going to induce or be all that inductive. Like if it was, say, if it was cast iron,
Right.
it might get really
Or
hot
painted
and stay.
black.
Yes,
Yes.
The wood, of course, is thermally very slow to
Yes.
change temperature. It is not ever going to get hot enough. If it got hot enough to really affect the soil, it would probably be in flames.
Absolutely.
So because
Yeah.
it can't achieve kindling temperature, but I've never seen that happen.
No. All right. Linda asks, what is the best dwarf ornamental grass for year-round interest around a pool?
Oh yeah, where's Bridget when we need her?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Dwarf.
I don't know how dwarf you want to go. I mean, the fountain grasses are really nice, but probably the least hardiest of the grasses that we sell. Not that I'm saying it can't come back and do well. It does, but I do see issues with the fountain grass, and that typically stays the smallest.
What about sedges? I know they handle the wet pretty well.
They
But
definitely
the
handle the
sun, though,
wet.
would that
Yeah,
be
they
the
don't really
issue?
want a full sun. If you've got shade around your pool, then sedges would be a great idea. There's
Mondo?
variegated sedges. Mondo's as small as you can get. Also, still needs some shade though. So
Okay.
I don't know how dwarf you want to be. Me and Caroline were talking yesterday, and she said that she's got like what'd you say, 4 or 5 different ornamental grasses, ornamental
5 different
switchgrass.
types of switchgrass.
Of
That doesn't
switchgrass.
include other types.
What
And
about
they
Stippa?
Yeah.
Stippa's
Could use that.
one, yep.
Yeah. But she was talking about how Northwind switchgrass, that cultivar specifically, which will get up about 4 to 5 feet tall. So if you can handle that, Northwind is premier, right?
So clean.
It's cleaner than any other switchgrass you've planted. And I talk about that grass a lot. I grow it at the house, and I'm just in love with it. And it's so good around a pool area. If you can handle a 4-foot tall grass, it sways in the breeze.
Mine's more
stays
like 5
vertical.
5 foot.
5 with the seed heads at
Yeah.
the end. Yeah.
So the conversation is heard at Austin's house is, where's Daddy? He's out talking to the switchgrass.
Dancing with the
He's
switchgrass.
I'm not dancing with him. I don't dance.
Don't lie. You
I
just
don't.
dance when no one's watching.
No,
with
I
that switch.
I've danced at like 3 weddings. I'll give you that.
I've seen you dance on the show with those arms.
With my,
All right, let's stick on the grass topic. What's a good pollinator-friendly native grass? Blue stem. That's what I would go for.
I knew you were going to say
I've
that.
got little blue stem. I've got big blue stem. I love blue stem.
Yeah, and really good for like the little birds.
They're great for the birds. Yeah, I noticed after, actually in the spring, the birds were like flocking to it because I left the seed heads up on my blue stem all winter into the spring. I actually just removed them last week, and they were tiny little birds. I can't remember what they are off the top of my head.
Those little goldfinches really like
Yeah.
the bird. I mean,
Black cat
They really like the
chickadees, perhaps. or-
Something very small and cute.
but Bridget would be
What
very
color?
happy with you saying that. The native
What
little
color?
blue stem.
Yeah, what color were the birds?
Yellow.
Yellow.
They were yellow. I thought you meant the grass. I was like, pretty blue.
Yeah, it's goldfinch.
All right, how to get rid of leaf miners in my okra starts.
That's interesting. You've already got
Yeah.
leaf miner on okra
Or
starts.
maybe they're preparing for it. They know it's going to happen.
Oh. Well,
Could be it.
there's preventative sprays. I don't really like doing that or recommending that unless you got the issue. You know what I mean? Like, and okra's a vigorous growing plant. Okay, so removing leaves that have leaf miners in there is probably your best bet because okra shoots so quickly.
Sunshine and heat.
They love it. They love it. So if you're seeing a leaf miner, you know what a leaf miner is literally they make a tunnel in the leaf, and you can see it almost looks like a little etch-a-sketch on the leaf.
Break it off.
So break it off. Yeah. Like that's the first best control. Just get rid of it totally.
Just get rid of it.
They're growing machines when
They
it
are.
gets hot.
Yeah. I love growing okra. I haven't grown it in a couple years. I really only grow it
Matter
for
of
the
fact,
flower.
the thing about okra is so sneaky that you can have a little pod in the morning that's too small to pick.
Yeah.
And then
if-
cardboard by 3 o'clock.
Well, if you don't get it by afternoon,
Yes.
the next day it's already too big.
Yeah, that's so true.
That's so true.
And they're
Yes.
all, and
Tell me I'm lying.
No,
I'm
you're
not
right.
lying.
It is like chewing on
one of
cardboard.
my favorite things are people who share their prized
Massive ones.
Oh, yeah.
cucumbers that are that are
Gourds.
this big. You know, they really say, "Look, I'm good." They're
I did
sharing it
great.
with you. Wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
if someone breaks in, we've got a weapon.
Exactly. Yeah. They get They get crazy large, crazy fast. Okay, someone is saying, I'm really liking Indian pinks. Are they better in full sun or part shade?
No, that's a part shade plant.
That is, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We keep that in
Absolutely.
our shade department. And it's a cool little plant, the little red blooms. Someone asked about, Andy, he's our machine operator, was on a machine unloading a rack, and he saw them on top, and he was like, hey, Bridget, what is this? He was like, I think I need some of those. So,
I
yeah,
need this.
Cool plant, but yeah, definitely going to need some shade.
And it's a good little shade. I mean, there's not many flowering shade plants as much
That are
as
like that
full
vibrant.
sun. Yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
that one is vibrant and gorgeous. My yarrow is really floppy. Any way to stand it up?
Staking methods. There's peony cages that they typically make for peonies
Grow
specifically,
throughs.
but they can grow through them and they'll keep them up. A good way to keep yarrow at bay, though, is to go ahead and chop that, y'all. Get rid of those blooms now, especially if they're like past full show and they're starting to get a little ratty and they're gangly and they're floppy. Cut them to the top of the foliage.
Yep. You're
You're going to get new bloom you're going to have a whole new bloom cycle if you do that.
They make really good cut flowers too. So my moonshine is really looking great right now, but it's starting to flop. So I'm probably going to cut it this weekend, put it in vases, clean it up.
Yeah, situational awareness in the garden is also helpful. If you know like a big storm's coming through and you know you're getting close to it, even if they look beautiful right then, go ahead and cut them and you'll avoid all that flop. And then when the storms come, they have little effect on them. Then they just boom right back out.
Yeah,
So
and
they're all good.
Yeah, you've done a great job of that this year. You've made a number. You've showed me pictures of like a number of good bouquets you've made. And you were proactive. You went ahead and cut the blooms.
Wild with my bouquets.
It's kind of hard to do that. It makes you feel like, oh God, I'm cutting off this bloom on this beautiful plant. But bring them in, put them in a vase, have them in your house. Like that's a great idea. You just have to. You got to cut them.
Gotta cut them. Were you about to say something, Josh?
No.
I'm looking for a comment that Tyler texted me about, but
my.
it's getting too wild over here.
You know what we're about to say, don't you? That's goodbye for this week.
Tyler, what was it?
Oh, what are you talking about?
You sent me a text,
I did.
didn't you?
About a
Don't know about
Oh,
that.
never mind. Guess not.
Yeah.
That went by quick,
We'll
as
clean it up
usual.
and catch up like we did this week because, hey, folks, we do this live. So when you're viewing, if you see it about 9 o'clock tonight, and you put a comment on it, we're going to get a notification and we'll try to answer it, but we don't always see those. So, but,
Happy Mother's Day, moms.
Yes, happy Mother's Day.
Absolutely. If you have the opportunity and can go see your mom and give her a hug, give her one from me too.
That's right.
And for everybody here at Gardening Inside Out, we thank you for participating. Like, share, ring bells, everything. Let everybody know about Gardening Inside Out because we're going to continue to grow so we can come back to you every Saturday morning here from Bates Nursery Garden. Bates Nursery and Garden Center. It's easy for me to say.
It is.
And the Green Room Studios. See you next Saturday morning.